Why did Oracle send somebody from sales here? Well, because I spent 90% of my career in marketing and business development. So I've been where you are, and I've moved. I went over to the dark side to cash in and be able to buy some Louis Vuitton, as most of you may or may not aspire to. And I'm here today to really talk to you about two key things. So number one, why does modern marketing matter? And number two, how does it work? And I'm going to refer to a study that Oracle did on 500 B2B customers, and also the 20 years of experience that we have in the marketing business, marketing cloud business, to make sure that we have something that you can take away from today. So, why does it matter? Well, today is all about two things. Number one, it's about customer-obsessed marketing. With a world that's ever evolving, with digital media, with new tools, all you really need and care about is getting and connecting your brand with your customer and doing it in a very effective way. Number one. Number two, anybody recognizes this? If not, it's a boardroom, okay? Let me share a quick story with you. A friend of mine who is head of marketing for TalkTalk told a story at a party last week. He basically said, you know, Daniela, it's always the same. We have a board meeting, finance are there, operations are there, the MD is there, and we give our updates. So finance gives the update, everybody listens, nods, writes something down, moves on. Sales give the update, everybody listens, nods, moves on. I start talking, all of a sudden, everybody has an opinion about digital marketing. Ever experienced that? Everybody, because they can spell Facebook, think they're a digital marketing expert. And he said, you know, that frustrated my life, and until I actually could find a way to get rid of this perception and to change by using Oracle Eloqua, I really had very little argument, but now I have the facts. And the facts are there to do one thing and one thing only. It's to allow me to get the board to love marketing. It's about connecting with your business, and it's about you leading the transformation of marketing from a cost center to a valued key asset to your business and an impact on your bottom line. So, what's changed in the last 15 years? So I started my career in marketing about 15 years ago. A lot has changed. The empowered consumer that we're talking about now, today's event is talking about data-driven marketing. Everything has changed. Data is growing, new tools are evolving. How do you get to know your customer that is getting ever so much ahead of yourselves, ahead of us, ahead of everybody? Quite frankly, it is very scary and it's difficult. And with that, your role had to change. You all of a sudden had to care about digital, you had to care about social, you had to care about many, many things, justifying what you're doing and why you're doing it, with ever-decreasing budgets, and also with an ever-demanding sales force, because of course we have to be in tandem with our sales force to make sure that what you produced and how you drove your customer and connecting with your brand resulted in bottom line. So about 10 years ago, the role of marketing typically ended after the awareness started. So you were looking at potentially the first 20% of the sales cycle and handing over contacts to sales, roughly. But now, with the change in technology, there's really a much higher emphasis on marketing-driven sales processes. 60 to 95% of your buyer's decision is made before they even get in contact with you. That puts a lot of responsibility on your shoulders, and it puts a lot of love in your direction if you get it right. So there's no choice, you have to get it right. So going back to the research that I want to share with you, the things that we found out from that research can be classified into 5 tenets of modern marketing. So we're going from why it matters to how it matters. Really, the 5 tenets, again, these are no new concepts, you would have heard about them, but they are absolutely powerful and mandatory for you to look at. It's about targeting, it's about engagement, about conversion and your alignment with sales. It's about analysis and being able to prove, data-driven accountability, and it is about making a solid marketing choice on your technology. Targeting. Remember the first point? Marketing needs to be customer obsessed. Knowing and truly understanding your customer is as key now as it ever was. However, it's in a changed environment. This gentleman, Peter Drucker. Anybody know Peter Drucker? Wonderful. Who is he? Exactly. Wonderful. Anybody want to take a guess when this quote was issued? Nearly? 1952. And it's as relevant now as it was then. However, if you translated this into today's world, there are different challenges. So let's look at even 10 years back. What happened? About 10, 15 years back, pretty much sales was all about your sales team having their Rolodexes, their private little stash, their little black book, their little red book, whatever they had, and they came to marketing and said, here are a couple of people I want to talk to, do something about it. When they left, the knowledge was gone about the customer. You didn't know what they interacted, what they needed, what their interests were. Very much non-scalable. So in comes the age of sales automation, Salesforce automation. And now we can transact all of that data into one CRM system and at least have it captured so when somebody leaves. The next evolution starts and everybody goes online. And again, everybody goes online. Can your CRM system deal with that? Not really. So marketing automation starts. And this is where it becomes powerful and interesting for you. It's all about understanding how now you can maximize what's in your sales pipeline by aligning your strategy and all of the technology that surrounds it to making sure that you affect the bottom line and get the board to love you. So this is Stephanie. Stephanie is between 25 and 44 years of age. I'm sure if you asked her, she's more 25 than 44. She is a mom, she's got a great job, and she's a homeowner. That's a typical demographic of a person that we traditionally would have looked at. That was 10 years ago. Now, this is Stephanie. And Stephanie leaves little traces of her personal interest, what we now call her digital body language, all over the shop. That is your responsibility to unlock and understand so you can attract and target Stephanie to your brand. Okay, so you can understand exactly what her likes and dislikes are, and all of a sudden turn Stephanie from being a prospect to turning Stephanie into a person. And that's pretty much what targeting is about. And this is what, obviously, Oracle Eloqua is helping you to achieve. It's understanding in one screenshot the digital body language of your customer, which can drive how you can target your audiences, to then move us on to the second tenet, which is the engagement. So let's talk about you. What are you interested in? How can I attract you? How do I get to you at the right time with the right information that matters to you? It's difficult. We all started to move into campaigns, multi-touch campaigns, about a couple of decade and a half ago. And for those of you who are in the business a little longer, I'm sure it's been hours on Gantt charts, trying to get it right, trying to get the complexity under one go, and really understanding how you can connect everything to prove that you link whatever you did to revenue later on in the stage, or to results, if not revenue. Really, what modern marketing looks like now is a very, very simplified, what you see is what you get canvas that anybody can use, I can use, so I know anybody can use it, lowest common denominator. And that simplifies your life enormously. Technology is not there to make your life difficult. Technology is there to do two things, to allow you to be customer obsessed and to get you to the board to love you. That's all there is to technology, and for allowing you to engage with your customers in the right way. And many of you, I'm sure, when you do a multi-touch, multi-channel campaign, you have to deal with a lot of different assets and snippets and technology pieces. It gets very complicated. How do you bring it all together? Well, it's important that you look at a solution that allows you, again, to simplify your life. Life needs to be simple and effective, and needs to do two things, again, to make you be customer obsessed and get the board behind you. And this is, by the way, the App Cloud store, which has everything that you ever wanted to plug into such a solution to make sure your campaign is at the cutting edge of modern marketing. It's all about creating that one-to-one relationship. I now understand what Stephanie likes. I know more about her than I could have ever known 10 years ago. How now do I make sure that I connect with her at the right level, at the right time, with the right content? And do it in a way that she wants it to be done, whether it's using digital assets, whether it's a social interaction, or whether it's mobile. Because at the end of the day, it's up to our customers to decide how they want to consume the content and how they choose to engage with us. And it's up to us to understand how we can get the engagement right. That brings me on to content marketing. Content has always been king, pretty much. And it's absolutely key nowadays, more so than before, to understand how you can utilize and have the right content ready to engage with your customers. How do you do that? Well, you look at digital body language, and you look at creating personas. Personas are key for you to structure your content in a way that it's easily accessible and easily available to push out. Push out. That's one way of marketing, right? But you also want to pull, because ideally you want to engage your customer with your brand. You want to do it in an effective way. So how do you do that? By looking, again, at a piece of technology that makes life easy for you. It is about pushing out the right content and encouraging people to produce content that you then can reuse either as references, either as comments, either as blogs, and push out to the right personas in your customer base or prospect base. And now the tricky part, conversion. Turning prospects into customers and then making sure the customer stays with us and becomes an advocate. This is usually where it becomes difficult between marketing and sales. Anybody had that experience? Ever had the conversation around whatever leads we get from you? All crap? Yeah? So, and it's key, right? Because that's never going to change, because that conversation will always happen. You will always be asked to do more with less and to do better. But here's a thought. How about aligning? How about looking at lead scoring? By show of hands, who in the room is currently using lead scoring? One person from Marketo. Excellent. So lead scoring, I would suggest to you, is something to investigate. Why? Because it clearly agrees a standard between yourself and your sales organization. In a very simplified way, you get upfront agreement on what it is they're willing to accept, and you nurture the person or the contact or the persona, whatever you want to call it, you nurture the contact until those levels of agreed standards have been reached, and then the lead gets passed over to sales. And then, on the contrary, you can request a clear SLA for your sales team to focus on ensuring that they follow up in a timely fashion so that the money that we all spend together gets turned into revenue. Lead scoring, very simple, very powerful. It needs to be about one common language between marketing and sales. And taking it even further, in the past, you had marketing automation, you had sales automation, you had service automation. We cannot work in silos. Marketing is there to work with sales automation jointly. And for that reason, historically, sales have never had access to marketing systems. Why would they? It's nothing to do with them. Well, it is. It's everything to do with them. Because here's how you add value. You allow your sales organization access to your marketing solutions so they can get two things out of it. They can understand the profile of the customer in one clear snapshot, understand their behavior, of their top opportunities. Maybe there's somebody else having activities that can help them to bring the deal to a close. How powerful is that? And the second thing, you can provide them with content that is vetted, that is powerful, and that really makes sense for them, again, to further their already existing opportunities. All of a sudden, you're not marketing that's not doing anything for me, you're marketing that are actually enlightening them and adding value to the sales process. So two key things, lead scoring and making sure that sales automation, marketing automation cannot be separate. And the final piece, the most interesting piece, analysis. I can tell you the last time I was in a pure marketing role was about 10 years ago, and I was asked to do a campaign to cash report. I was working in Oracle, so this is a secret you can't share with anybody. So I was working in Oracle, and I was asked 10 years ago to do a campaign to cash review and report. And it took me 3 days to do that. And that's with 3 long days. And then I brought it to our board and we reviewed it. I got slaughtered because the numbers didn't make sense, they didn't add up. And I had not one single source of truth between sales and marketing that would allow me to have a powerful statement to stand my cause. That was 10 years ago. You should not experience what I experienced. 3 out of 4 CEOs, according to a study today, are looking to have a 100% focus on ROI. And by ROI, we're talking about revenue for their marketing organization. Unless you're planning to find the one CEO who doesn't care, I suggest it's something to note and really make sure when you talk about marketing strategy that you have that in mind. When a different study asked who could actually prove and provide clear ROI tracking, only 1 in 3 companies said that they were in a position today to do that without a lot of work going in, work that, like myself, I did 10 years, which none of you should do today. In marketing, whether we like it or not, we'll always have to quantify and we'll have to justify. And it's your job to make sure that you have the right ammunition to do 2 things, to be customer obsessed and then to be loved by your board. And you do that by factual evidence that comes from a single source of truth across a platform that's connecting and aligning sales and marketing. And this is what it looks like. So this is the view of a combined report, which at a click of a button and a connecting platform of sales and marketing can be yours in less than probably 5 seconds. Something that took me 3 days, 10 years ago. This is good stuff, and this is important to feel the love. And the next thing is, and I'm sure you've been in these meetings where people say, so what's worked? What hasn't worked? And your answer is, well, we've done well here. We've not done so well there. But how about having a data-driven analysis that allows you to make better judgments, to do more of what the data-driven analysis suggests you should do, and to do less about the things that are not working? And now you have the knowledge because you're not relying on your gut. You're not relying on the fact that somebody knows that, I don't know, everybody's on holidays in Italy in August, which, that's not great insight. But you really have the opportunity to learn from what you've been doing and do better as you move forward, moving insights into actions. And the final fifth tenet is the marketing technology. When I saw this slide for the first time, I was very surprised. So a Gartner study recently stated that by 2017, the CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, will spend more on IT than a CIO to drive the focus on customer within the organization. And customer experience is a big word. I was really surprised to see that. And I can assure you, whether or not this is going to happen, if it does happen, it's a lot of responsibility, because for every dollar you spend, I'm sure you all know, you have to justify why you do it, and you have to prove return on investment. So with a big budget, big spend, it's key to make the right decisions and to invest in the right technology that will support you today and will support you tomorrow, outside of a siloed view. This is what the world looks like at the moment. So there's little old you, little old me in the middle, and a lot of things happening around. A lot of technology, a lot of cool stuff. You know what they are, you know what they do, but how do you actually maximize it and utilize it? It's very, very difficult, and it's very complicated. As a marketing technology provider, it's our job not to help you be successful with the marketing knowledge we have, but it's also our job to make sure you're in a position where things are simple, where they're future-proof, and you're ready for the next evolution because you made the right choice. And my final thought is, again, going back to the customer obsession, what you need to look at, and it's key, is not a siloed approach when you talk about marketing technology. It's looking at how you can bring everything together that allows you to prove the value, that allows you to drive the revolution in your business from a cost center to a key asset, and ultimately connects your marketing spend to the bottom line. How do you do that in an ever so much complex world with more data being produced day by day? You need to have a single customer view, and that needs to be part of your strategy as a marketeer. So, those were the 5 tenets. So what are the kind of 3 things that they really do for us and how it works in modern marketing? Well, they allow us to truly understand and know our customer, number 1. They allow us to perform in a multi-channel, always-on marketing environment with different ways to engage, different ways to connect, and different ways to make sure your brand gets to the right person at the right time in the right content. And finally, and nicely connecting to this wonderful event, it's all about data-driven accountability. If you can factually prove that you have done what you have done and that you have transformed $1 spent into $20, $30, $40, $500, whatever it is that you're looking as a KPI, return on investment to your organization, I'm pretty sure you will be very, very much appreciated, and the board will absolutely love you. So that was the theory. Of course, we have customers. You would have guessed that Oracle has customers. We're the big bad wolf. We do everything, but we do it well. The one thing I thought today I'll share with you is we're in an educational setting. There's a customer we have, quite a small customer, who is an educator. They're called Atomic Learning. Atomic Learning were in a position where they had to do more with a lot less. And their key go-to-market strategy has been and still is to attract people to conferences, spend money on booth, and have lead generation from through traffic and appointments at their booths. Now, for those of you who have been engaging in that type of marketing activity, you will know that these conferences get more and more expensive every year, and it gets more and more difficult to actually get leads out of it. Would you agree? Yeah. So that was their challenge, and they could no longer afford it. So they made a decision to look at a marketing automation tool. They chose Oracle Eloqua, and they looked at a clever strategy, because whatever technology you have, you still have to have the brain. That's what you're there for. We make your life easy, but you bring the creative element. They looked at what they could do differently, and they came up with a very convincing campaign that allowed them to attract over 288% increase in direct pipeline generated from the same money they spent 12 months prior. And how did they do it? Very simple. They were creative. They used the system to engage with people before the conference. They had a phenomenal hook, and they made sure the content that they delivered was digestible in every way possible. So they had a social element to it, they had a PR campaign aligned to it, everything you can imagine. And then, of course, they had a great hook by having a YouTube element connected where people could come to their booth and be part of something that was fun. And people love to be part of something fun, especially in the education sector. So that's a little story of one of our customers. I thank you very, very much for your time today, and again for making my dream come true. It's been a pleasure, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them later. Okay, I will take them later. Thank you very much.